Welcome to the Alpha Consulting Podcast, show number one, managing teams and influencing others. My name is Luis Perez. I've got about 10 years of management experience, starting with Red Lobster, where I was in Jacksonville, North Carolina at the age of 22. I was a service manager first, and then I was a kitchen manager. So, service manager, I learned how to, affect a customer connection or guest connection score, and then maintain the workflow of what dinner business and lunch business looks like. And from there, I went to a kitchen in the same building. And so the kitchen, I was able to reduce waste. I was able to understand the systems and processes behind that, and then create systems to better make the building run. So Jacksonville was a low volume area. And so my next assignment was Fayetteville, which was the highest volume area. So in the same order, I went to the front of the house, and there I was able to create systems and routines to ensure profitability within the organization and happy guests. After that, I became the culinary manager for that location. And so there again, I decreased waste and very successful at that, as well as running a 5 or 6 person line on a busy, Saturday or Sunday, and was able to do that with very low ticket times, and I was very proud of that. So from there, I became a store manager for Aldi in Fayetteville. I actually did their first relocation in the Salisbury division. And with my little time there, I was able to be top 10% of the division with ring speeds, as well as the bottom 10% with write-offs, meaning that's a good thing. Did not have a lot of waste, so that was fantastic. And again, that relocation in the Salisbury division really showed me how to do a grand opening, so that was really exciting. So from there, I actually went to Lidl, which is a competitor of Aldi. And the interesting fact about Lidl was, at the time, none of them were open in the United States. So I was actually part of the first round of store managers that got to train overseas to learn the concept of what Lidl was. So with my background at Aldi, I was able to fully submerge myself in the culture of being in a different country, as well as travel. I got to do a lot of travel over there and then go to different Lidls. And then I was able to open about 5 Lidls while I was overseas. So that brings my total of 6 grand openings. So then I brought all of that knowledge back to the United States as a store manager, and I was told that I got the flagship store in Raleigh. So I was super excited about that. Raleigh did not open first, so I helped support the opening of the Kinston store. And in Kinston specifically, we had about 100 team members, not including the management team. So that was really exciting to get to help train and develop them. I was also a part of the training academy for all of the team members and all of the team leaders for the Graham Distribution Center. So I was the SRP, which is the store responsible person in the Lidl lingo. And with that responsibility, I was able to lead orientations of over 300 people. And then I was able to create training structures for the team leaders. And then the team leaders were able to then train the team members. And then I was responsible for all of that. So awesome experiences. After I opened up the Kinston store, I was able to hire, train, and develop my entire team for the Raleigh store, and opened successfully in November of 2017. With that being said, after a couple of years in that role, Target had approached me for my food business, and understanding that I was an expert in the field, they were currently looking for experts. So in that search for experts, they found me. I interviewed, and I actually took a location in Raleigh, so Raleigh Northeast Super Target. I became the ETL food. And so I did that for about 2.5 years, where I was able to be a district resource for my entire district plus the district over. I was leading great walks. I had the president of food for the company come to my store, and it was fantastic. So from that, I have just recently been promoted to multi-unit manager. So now I'm responsible for about 16 stores. And in those 16 stores, it's just for food. So I'm able to really be specialized and help Target move their food business forward, which is a huge passion of mine. So, with all of that experience, I definitely want to talk to you guys about managing teams and influencing others. So, when I started, I had to ensure that I got buy in from the beginning. People had to believe in what I was saying, and I had to have credibility with the team. So, there's several ways to do this for sure, but you have to ensure the training of your job description and functions gives you a total understanding of what goals are for your specific job. So you've got to get the big picture. When you understand what the big picture is, you can then specify and make individualized goals to get you to where you need to be. So you have to get to know the team after that. So you know exactly what you need to do, and then you go to the store that you're in, that you're responsible for, and you can't go in head first and try to change everything. You have to have a good to great mentality. Even if the store teams are not doing a good job, you don't want to demoralize them by saying, this is terrible, you need to fix it or else. They've been working hard. Most teams, in my experience, don't want to do a bad job. They just don't know how to do a good job. So challenging them by saying good to great, hey, these are some good things, let's make them better, and then still work on the really bad things. But it's just really how you frame all of those things and make sure that you frame it correctly. So then you have to understand what challenges are in their way and what is hindering them from becoming successful. So as a leader, your responsibility is to ensure that they don't have any challenges that are in their way. So you have to immediately remove obstacles that they are having to overcome, and then that will get validation from the team quickly. They're going to be like, wow, he listened, he cares, this was in the way. A good example, if we're not coming clean on trucks and there's a whole bunch of freight in the back room, what is in their way? Oh, we don't have enough hours. So then we get people in there, and so they have enough hours, so then the problem is fixed. So doing that quickly ensures that the team is going to have buy-in for you, and moving forward, when you ask them to do something, they're going to do it because you just did something for them. So having that understanding, you then also have to filter out the noise. So when you first start, you may be overwhelmed with the amount of job responsibilities that you have. You have to filter out the noise. What's appropriate right now to convey to the team? And this all goes back to foundation. Are you building that foundation to ensure that your team has the tools that they need to succeed now? And then are they creating that foundation for the future? So it's imperative that you do that, because if you go after every metric that you're supposed to day one, you're not going to do a great job, and you're not going to be as effective leader as you want to be. You're going to put out fires, not build a foundation, and 6 months down the road, the problem starts being you, because you as a leader are not gaining the momentum because you didn't build the foundation. So it's imperative that, yes, there are going to be your bosses that are saying X, Y, and Z is not getting done, but you have to stay tried and true with what you're doing to ensure that your team has a foundation. So in all of that, some metrics may not be executed, and that's okay, but you have to ensure that the foundation is the key. So I use TOMS model. So TOMS. TOMS is teams, operations, merchandising, and service. So with teams, do you have the right team in place to be as productive as possible while still taking care of the guests? So again, you go in, you remove barriers, you remove obstacles, and in removing that, you'll see, okay, I remove this obstacle, but this specific team member isn't executing at the level that I need to. So hopefully this will create some outliers. So let's say you have 10 employees and you fix issues and you make sure that you are very specific to the foundation you're creating. And out of the 10, let's say maybe 2 are not doing what you need to. Those outliers now have identified themselves, and now you can work closely with them. Instead of trying to pick and choose between the 10 team members, now you can pick between 2 and work with both to make sure that you get to the goals that you need to get to. So with operations, operationally, are we green on processes to ensure that we satisfy our guests' needs? So when you've built that foundation, that's when you can start, looking at bigger picture, look at all the metrics that we're hitting, look at the specific systems and processes that we have in place to ensure that we're as productive as possible. We have the right team, so let's get the right operations down. After that is merchandising. So are we ensuring that what we have to offer is displayed for our guests in a way that promotes them to buy it? So for example, if something is on ad, is it empty on the shelf or is it full? Are we prioritizing those things? A good example would be Thanksgiving. When Thanksgiving is here, specific items sell faster than others. So if we are saying we need to ensure that the Thanksgiving items stay full, then we are doing a great service to our guests. We're not using the excuse of, oh, well, it's not on the shelf, even though it is in the back room, but they've already filled it twice and they're not going to fill it again. No, everything is guest first, so we need to make sure that merchandising is there. And then lastly is the service aspect. So are we going above and beyond to differentiate ourselves from the competition? Great example, I was in my store not too long ago and a guest was asking me for sauerkraut. Okay, sir, let me take you right to it. Here's a sauerkraut. What are we making? He said a Reuben sandwich. I said, don't forget the Thousand Island dressing. He literally thanked me because his wife was going to kill him because he forgot the Thousand Island dressing on the actual list that he made. So it's that going above and beyond and understanding like guests have needs. And so how do we build that within our team to ensure overall success in the organization that you're working in? So in this order, solid foundations will be created to ensure success. And that is the ultimate goal in any organization, is to have success. So building off of that foundation is really important, and this is what I call the razzle dazzle of management. When the team is operating at a high level, what do you do to ensure that you have created business owners, right? And so at Target, we call them dedicated business owners, but essentially you have to involve the team members in decision making, right? And there's 1,000 different viewpoints of, what would you do in this situation? But at the end of the day, you've got to build up your team members to make smart business decisions. And unfortunately, that might mean that they don't make the right decision, but at least they have made a decision. And at that moment, when you have empowered your team to make decisions, you cannot reprimand them if they make the wrong decisions. Now, if it's like a huge food safety or health safety issue, then absolutely, like that has to be addressed immediately. But if they, for example, decided, I'm going to merchandise this here instead of there, you can't say, no, you did a terrible job, that's a dumb idea. You have to actually coach, teach, and train them. I see why you did that. I would have done this because of X, Y, and Z. Moving forward, let's try it this way, right? And so that creates that sense of, okay, we're working together, we're making these decisions with each other, and that's imperative to make sure that the team are actual business owners, because that's the ultimate goal. So then when that is done, maintaining the culture is imperative, right? So a mantra that we used at Lidl is success is never final. I am a person that cannot become complacent. I always look to see if there are better ways to do things, or if there's an easier way or a more productive way to do things. I like to think outside the box. At the end of the day, companies are moving forward. Not one company from 20 years ago operates the same exact way, because they wouldn't have survived. So with that being said, we have to ensure that we are always looking ahead and ensuring that we're doing everything in our power to keep up with the times. So a good example of this is, there's a metric and you should be 40% for that metric per week, but you could potentially get to 100%. So instead of 40% and we're hitting that goal, and it's not hard for us to hit that goal, we should always challenge ourselves. So let me try to hit 45%. Let me try to hit 50%. And in my tenure with Target, that's exactly what my team and I did. We ensured that we were always ahead of the curve, because the minute that Target changed the expectation from 40 to 50, we were already at 55. Then we were climbing to 60 and 70, and then Target said, we need to get to 60. Guess what? We're green. But stores that stayed in the mentality of 40% or 30% being okay, they got left behind. And so now they're 40 points away instead of being a couple points away at most. So it's important that we have a success is never final mindset, because without that, you're gonna get left behind. So you always have to seek out improvement and adapt to situations as they arise. And then the last thing is you have to understand that maintaining constant communication with your team ensures that you'll be able to meet them where they're at. So again, you go into the situation, you understand where they are in the process, and you make sure that you give them the tools that they need to succeed. And then you always apply that pressure of getting better and doing more and communicating with each other as a team. So at the end of the day, when you do all of that, your system should be running autonomously. And so the big question that I leave for you is, what do you do with your free time? Thank you for joining the Alpha Consulting Podcast, show number 1. This is Lewis checking out.